Welcome back to the Varsity Voices Podcast, the voice of high school sports, culture, competition, and conversation. And tonight we're flipping the script. This isn't Dear Dan, this is Joe Knows. Instead of me asking the question, Dan's in the driver's seat, and we're talking about the real stuff, the evolution of high school sports, transfer culture, NIL, recruiting, media, and what Varsity Voices is actually building beyond the microphone. This isn't hot takes. This isn't headlines. This is perspective, experience, and a real conversation about where high school sports are going and why it matters. And Dan, let's get into it.
All right. So I love to flip the script. I like doing the asking of the questions sometimes. So I'm interested in your thoughts. We haven't talked about this at all, but I'm interested in what you've got for me. So are you ready?
I think we're ready. So here we go.
All right.
Joe knows.
I love it.
Joe knows.
All right. I want your early gut feeling, Joe. What teams are trending up in the CCL for football next based on their performance this past year, returning impact players, and any offseason news you may have heard?
All right. So I think there's several teams that are trending in the right direction, right? You and I have talked about Leo. I feel like they're kind of on the cusp and kind of trending in the right direction. I'll be interested to see what happens with Bennett and the new head coach, James White, who we interviewed, to see what does for their trending. But the one team that really comes to mind for me, Dan, and this is Providence.
Okay.
Now, obviously, they made it to the semifinals last year, so, it's not like they're a surprise,
right?
But I just feel like from a standpoint of where they were at the year before and what they were able to do last year, and then who they now have coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got their quarterback, they've got both their running backs, they've got a couple of wide receivers, they've got an offensive lineman who's one of the top underclassmen in the state of Illinois. They've got a great coach in Coach Plants there. I just feel like even though they made it far last year, I still think their best football is kind of ahead of them and, coming into next year. So I'm going to go with Providence on this.
All right.
as far as not my pick, but who's trending and I think is really going to make a move next year.
Yeah. And trending could be from, you could be dominant. You could be really good, make the to, improving and become a dominant team. I've got a similar team, Joe. I just made a really quick list and I had Leo on mine. Brother Rice, obviously, is still really, really good. And looks like they could take a next step into that, whatever that top echelon is. But I had IC as my team that yes. So with so many returners and impact returners, I thought they've got a shot to be really special next year. So I feel like they're trending in the right direction.
If you are looking to buy or sell a home, contact RE/MAX Realtor and Circle of Legends recipient Christopher Cobb. Let Chris's extensive negotiating experience work to guide you on all of your real estate buying and selling needs. Contact Christopher now to discuss the right strategy for your personalized real estate buying and selling plan. His number is 630-420-0070, or you can visit his website at christophercobb.com.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on IC as well. And it's a hard pick, right?
It
is. There's teams that haven't been doing very well and now are starting to kind of make incremental steps. You could look at St. Viator, Leo, like you mentioned. IC, I think, is right there. So I'm in agreement with you on all that, Dan.
Okay. All right. Next.
All right.
Joe knows.
All right. Joe, you have a chance to be a high school head coach tomorrow. What are your priorities in the offseason?
Let's see. My priorities in the offseason, and you and I have talked about this a little bit from a standpoint of coaching, but I think if I were to kind of rate my priorities, the number one would be, establishing that culture first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is off season. I think it's too late to do it when the season gets here. It's got to start now, right? I think teams are made in the off season in a variety of different ways. And I think it starts with culture, kids working together, kids, working hard, doing all the same kinds of things or doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, not taking time off, all those kinds of things. So I would say culture is number one for me if I were a head coach. Second would be strength and conditioning. And, this is a, non-negotiable for me, as I'm sure it is for a lot of coaches.
Yeah.
But for me, it would be, we have got to get in the weight room and lifting and conditioning and all of that between now and the start of practice or the start of the season, because this is when, like I said, teams are made, right, and players can kind of remake themselves too. Put on 20 pounds of muscle, over the course of the next 6 months, and see what that's going to do for you, when it comes to the season. So that's another one. And I've got one more. And again, this is something that you and I have talked about, but I love the idea of the player development plans, personalized to each player.
Okay.
If I were a coach, I would put together a development plan and sit down with each of my players, go over it, get their input, those kinds of things, and then have them stick to that, sign it, whatever, but take it home to their parents, have their parents look at it, and that would be the other thing I would do. I want something that players would be committed to and would really develop them to be the best possible player they could coming up in the next season. So those are my three kind of priorities, Dan, if I were a head coach.
Yeah, I love the player development plan, and I think it's really as important now, if not more important than ever, because of the distractions and what the players, high school players, are facing today. Some of the choices they have with the ability, however it may be, to transfer, and you're seeing that becoming now part of the culture. So you're fighting against that, and I think a player development program that shows the player, the parent, yes, we are thinking about this. We are thinking about your player, your student athlete, his, not only his future, but his present. So I think really good ideas on all. And then, the old school strength and conditioning, it just can't ever go away,
No,
so
can't.
that's, and I reference Coach knew a lot. And he said many years ago when we joined the CCL, he told the team, strength and conditioning now, that's par. That's no longer, you're no longer above everyone else because
That's
you
base,
lift weights
right?
all the time. Yes,
Yes.
that's where everyone is at. And I thought it stuck with me, and I thought that really made sense. So good to have some old school and new school stuff in there, kind of addressing some of those issues.
Yeah, sure is. Okay, so
Here we
Joe
go.
knows.
All right.
here we go.
Joe, has the landscape in high school sports changed enough that you think a general manager type position is needed?
I do think there are certain things related to high school sports right now. And when it comes to, transfers, when it comes to eligibility, when it comes to NIL, when it comes to recruiting, all the things that, some of those things like recruiting just kind of happened in the background before. That doesn't cut it anymore in high school sports and high school football, because I feel like kids are deciding on where they're going to go based on your program, not only how good is the football team and the football program, but really how good is all of the other stuff around it as well. How do you have a handle on that? Call it operations, call it, football operations, whatever you might want to call it. But I think there is a need for someone who focuses on that for high schools. You can call it a general manager, you can call it a director of football operations. I don't care what you call it, director of program management, whatever, but there's enough there that needs to be handled and handled in the right way and should not fall through the cracks, because that's going to make a big difference for you as a school and as a program, not just football, but all of your sports programs. So it's where high school is at, and it's also where high school is headed, and it's going to get even more demanding. These kinds of things, and maybe the athletic director might have done it before, but they've got enough on their plate already.
Yeah.
I think you need to carve out these kind of operations type things and have somebody who focuses on that and does it, does it in a good way.
Yeah, Joe, I like that. And I found one. It just happened on social media and I think it was in Ohio. I got it and I lost it. Sometimes when you refresh, it changes everything. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But it was the title was Director of Operations / Recruiting Coordinator / Track Coach. Yeah. So it was a coach and someone wearing a bunch of hats, but you could tell it was kind of this, I handle all those things that are probably new or have advanced in the last 10 years,
right,
that used to be on an athletic director's plate, but have become too much for an athletic director.
Yeah.
And maybe you call it assistant AD, director of recruiting. Like you said, the title can be whatever you want, but I think it's coming. I think there's going to be a position like that. And I mean, I know in college, I thought it sounded funny when I first heard it, that teams had GMs, but part of what they're doing is evaluating players on other teams because they may become available, which is, I just can't ever, I'm going to say it today, I can't ever see that coming to high school, but it's crazy not to think about it, at least give it some thought.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come to high school. It's just a matter of time. And, like some of the other things we talked about, Dan, is if I were, high school administrator or somebody looking at our programs and what will make us more attractive to kids, this would be something, that I would look at and definitely implement, because it's preemptive, right? If you wait until everybody else does it, and other states are doing this, Dan. I feel like
this was Ohio.
You and I, think about Illinois all the time, and I feel like they're a little bit behind some of the other states, like Alabama and Florida and Texas and Ohio, as far as where they're at from a standpoint of high school and high school sports and these kinds of positions. So I would want to be preemptive and get somebody in place doing this right away.
Yeah, makes sense. Sense.
Okay.
All right, you want to talk a little some players and some football stuff?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
It's I need a little player and football fix.
Yeah. All right. So there is, it's this time of year, and I follow baseball closely. We grew up Sox fans, and so all you can do is follow the minors the past several years to have any sort of excitement about the White Sox. So currently, Joe, there are top 100 prospect rankings coming out for everyone and everywhere. There are the podcasts there for teams that are scuffling. It's too many to name, but right now, they're all doing their top 100 prospect rankings for Major League Baseball. And I was thinking about, could you put something like that together for the Catholic League? And you probably could. There's probably enough talent. I'm not going to ask you to go 100.
100 deep?
Yes.
Wait, give me 10 minutes.
Can you go 10? Are there 10 good enough players that you can, I'll put you on the spot a little bit. I don't know if you ranked them or can rank them or not. I did a little ranking because I get a kick out of it, but love to know what you think. Give me your power rankings for current underclassmen right now.
Okay. So, even if they're coming back and are going to be seniors, right?
Yes. Yeah. They are current juniors. Yes. So yeah, give me 10-1 if you've got it.
10-1. Okay. Number 10 on my list, and I mentioned Providence. right? And thinking, they're really got some momentum going in that. And, I love the way Dom Vita played last year. Really good. He's coming back. He's got a bunch of weapons coming back. He's a dual threat. He's going to have one more year under his belt, one more year of getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster, experience. So, I'm Dom Vita from Providence is probably my number 10.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. My number 9 would be Grant Bowen.
Okay.
IC.
Yeah.
Okay? Another up and comer. I think he's only going to be a junior, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But got all the tools, height, the speed, the strength, the athleticism. And like you mentioned, IC is one of those trending teams as well. He's a reason for it.
For sure.
And he's going to be a reason for, a big reason for some of their success next year, whatever that might be. So Grant Bowen from IC is my number 9.
Okay.
My number 8 would be David Foloruncho from St. Pat's.
Yeah. Okay. I like him as a player.
I like him as
I've liked him for a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. You've mentioned him, and I didn't really notice him until last year, really towards the end of the year, right? Where I was like, oh, who is this kid? And started looking at him, and I know he's been to a couple things this off season already, and he is getting offers from everywhere. From all Power 4, Power 5 teams. So I think he's going to be a real force to be reckoned with as well.
Yeah.
He's from St. Pat's. Boy. So what am I, the number 7?
7.
All right, number 7.
Sorry to put you on the spot like that.
That's all right. I do have, let's see. Number 7 is going to be, let me go with Caleb Tucker.
Okay.
From Mount Carmel.
Another junior to be, right? Or is he going to be a senior? Yeah, he's going to be a junior.
He's going to be a junior.
Yeah.
Another big, enormous kid that,
yes.
Mount Carmel has just relied on him already. He started freshman, sophomore year, plays in the middle, doesn't get a ton of press, but, people notice, especially big time programs notice. I think he's bone crusher. Right.
Yes, he's the bone crusher.
6'5", 350, something like that. Yeah. And just a force. So he's my number 7. Okay. My number 6 would be Braden Parks. No. I'm going to go with somebody else in that. My number 6 would be Jordan McKinley.
Okay.
From Loyola. Wide receiver, tight end, all dog team for us last year. Or this past year, they use him all over the place. He runs a wildcat.
Yeah, versatility is a key.
Yeah, and he's 6'3", 220, and can run and can catch. He's just, he's a player to be reckoned with for sure. All right, so he was number 6. Number 5 would be Braden Parks from Brother Rice. All the accolades in the world. Just an outstanding player. We talked about the defensive line all year. And, he's going to have another year under his belt. He's going to get bigger, stronger. He's got every offer you could imagine out there as well. So
yeah, he's one of those guys, Joe, that has a look that is like beyond college to me. Like, whoa, this just looks different. Yeah.
So he's my number 5. My number 4 is, let's see. Sorry about this, but
that's okay.
I'm going to go with Quentin Burrell.
Okay.
As my number 4, wide receiver for Mount Carmel. Another outstanding player. We know what he's done.
Yeah.
He's going to have a great senior year.
Yeah, he's essentially unstoppable. Don't kick him the ball.
Unstoppable.
Yes. Yeah.
Number 3 on my list is going to be Jake Thies.
Okay.
From Fenwick. He was a good player. We knew that all along. He just exploded.
Perfect word
this
for it.
year.
He exploded onto the scene. And that's
Yes.
how he plays, explosive. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was unreal to see what kind of year he had.
Yeah, and I'd love to see all the colleges now trying to catch up and recruit him.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a player. I don't care what school you're talking about. He's a player you want on your team.
Yes, I want Northwestern to recruit him. I'm just going to shill. I'm going to shill right now and say, Northwestern, if you're not there, go get him.
Yeah, you can put a call in.
He's a great fit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great fit there.
Yes, I get busy signals when I call.
You've got to hide your name coming through on the ID, caller ID. All right, and my number 2 would be Cameron McGee.
Okay.
Brother Rice.
Yeah.
Again, now he's only going to be a junior.
Yeah.
Too.
Crazy good.
Crazy good. Yeah. Scary good.
Yeah.
Game plan. Got a game plan.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's my number 2. And my number 1 is going to be Izzy Abrams from Montini.
Okay.
When I was just thinking about this, I thought, Cam McGee, I had Izzy Abrams, Cam McGee, Izzy Abrams, but I'm going to go with Izzy Abrams just because of, the impact he has and the talent and the impact that he has with that talent. He picks up that team and, he puts them in a spot to win every game, to make a great play every play. For me, he's my number 1 choice is Izzy Abrams.
Joe, that's such a great list. What's so funny, we didn't talk about this. I think I put you on the spot to rank them, but I had already ranked mine. I'm going to hold them, keep them close to the vest for now. But it's so similar. It's so similar. It's unbelievable. Yes. Yeah. It's crazy.
There's a couple, obviously, this is just 10 and I could have gone 20 deep.
Yeah. Because you apparently don't like O-linemen. Just kidding.
I know. I had a feeling you were going to say that. Yeah.
No, that's okay. There are so many. It's a good enough league of linemen that you could do a separate list for O-linemen.
That's true. Maybe we'll do that sometime, Dan.
I like it.
I
like
that
idea.
Rankings by position.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Programming on the fly. Love it.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. I'm ready. All
right.
Let's move on.
Let's go.
Okay. All right, Joe. The IHSA made some drastic changes regarding the football playoffs in 2025. Right, this fall that just happened, 5 of the 8 state champions were from the CCL. Okay. All these changes happened, drastic differences. What's that percentage like in 2026?
I think it's close to the same. You can add 100 more teams, 200 more teams to the playoffs, and it doesn't change the impact that the Chicago Catholic League is going to have in the playoffs and, probably state championships. There's, we just talked about some of the players coming back across.
It's ridiculous.
A lot of these teams in the Chicago Catholic League, and they're going to be just as good, if not better, than some of them were last year. So, I think, 50%, 4 of 8. Maybe they dropped to 4 of 8. Maybe because the multiplier and stuff, that some of them, get bumped up, but, it's still going to mean that Chicago Catholic League wins that particular class.
Yeah, and it lets other ones maybe slide in below, underneath. If all these schools start to get bumped up, right? You're going to have, I don't know, maybe I have that wrong, but it's like, well, where did Leo come from in 3A? Well, they've been building, and now they're really good, or 2A or 1A or whatever Leo might be.
Right.
But I think you're going to open the door for some of that you didn't think about because you're thinking too much about Mount Carmel and Brother Rice.
Yeah. So the playoffs can expand. I think that's fine. And we've talked about giving more high school programs and high school kids the opportunity to play in the playoffs, which is great, but it's not going to change the impact of the Chicago Catholic League on the playoffs and on state championships.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you're going to see it maybe look a little some different names, but the percentage is going to be pretty similar.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Okay. All right. You've asked me a couple times who I would change as a mascot, which I love doing. But I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. What is the best mascot name in the Chicago Catholic League?
Boy, there's some really good ones. There's some really bad ones, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, if I were to think of the one that I like the best and the one that I think is most indicative of the team as well is Brother Rice, the Crusaders.
Yeah.
I like the Crusaders. I like the logo, for one.
Right. The logo is cool.
I like
Very
the
cool.
whole idea behind the Crusaders.
Yes.
And I feel like the personality of the team for Brother Rice, they're on a crusade every season. So it kind of fits them perfectly. So that's the one I would pick, Dan. Crusaders.
I like it. So
right.
I've done a 180, Joe.
Yeah.
You asked me one time and I said I would change the Dons.
Yeah.
Now knowing more about it after looking it up this year, I love it. It's my favorite one because it's unique and it's got meaning and history. In fact, I think Dan DeFranza should change his name or just go by Don DeFranza.
Don DeFranza?
Yes.
That's good.
But I think
Don,
if you
in like quotes.
Right.
Don DeFranza. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because we're of Italian descent, I think we can say this without getting in trouble. But I think you ought to, if anyone addresses him, they ought to be with a raspy voice, like your prognosticus. It'll be like Don DeFranza. Yes. I hope he takes that in the spirit, but I think it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
It would be perfect.
Probably should lean into that.
Yes.
The whole thing. Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
He needs like a big mahogany desk, and like a cat that walks around in the coach's office that hops up on him as people come to see him.
And always somebody sitting in the chair over on the side in the corner. Always. Yeah. Yes. He's always there. He doesn't talk or nothing.
Right.
Just yeah.
All right. I'm going to get us in trouble. We better move on. All right.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's see.
Last one, Joe.
Joe knows.
Last one. All right.
You all right?
Yeah.
All right. So last year, I'm going to bring this up again. I picked St. Pat's to surprise it in a surprise to win in the purple.
Fine. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But looking at the divisions are new now. Do you see right now, as of end of January, obviously it's early, there's still a lot to learn, but do you have any early thoughts on surprises in a particular division or more than one division for next year?
I think I'm going to stick with your division, Dan, the purple division.
Okay.
We picked St. Pat's last year. And this particular team we talked about throughout the year, and we talked about them, the amount of progress they made, and we felt like they were just kind of a year behind as far as from a development standpoint, but give them another year and they're going to be someone to be reckoned with. I'm going to pick Notre Dame from the purple division.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's Notre Dame, St. Pat's, Marmion, and Bennett, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
For this upcoming year. I think Notre Dame's going to surprise some people. They didn't have a great year last year, but like I said, I think getting 1 year under their belt, new coach has one more year under his belt, new head coach, his players. We know he had some young players, so I think they're going to surprise. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. It's not what I expected. And, I feel like because St. Pat's is kind of established in that division, they still have people returning, but those two teams, it's awesome because of the rivalry there that's been created within the division now. So yeah. I love that pick. I love it. I made my pick, but I'm also keeping that close to the vest. Okay.
I mean, The other one I was thinking of as we were talking, there was St. Rita. They're now in the green.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is that a surprise? If they win the green, I mean, we know how tough the green is going to be. It's got Martini, it's got St. Francis, it's got, NAS, right?
That's unreal. Like, what a division.
That is a killer division, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
Yeah. All right, so that was it, right?
Yes, that
all
was
the
it.
Joe knows. Okay.
I'm all set. You did a great job, Joe. I liked it's fun to do. It's fun to be on this side of it. And then I also like my answers that I did as well. So.
Yeah, me too. Of course you did. Yeah. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode of the Varsity Voices and for this edition of Joe Knows. If there's one thing we hope you take away from this conversation, it's this. High school sports isn't just changing, it's transforming, and how we respond to that change matters. The Varsity Voices, we aren't just here to cover games, right, Dan? We're here to talk about culture, support the athletes, educate families, help build something sustainable for the future of high school sports. And if you believe in that mission like we do, make sure you follow, subscribe, and share this episode because this platform only grows through community. For Dan, I'm Joe, and this is the Varsity Voices Podcast, and we'll see you next time.